The healthy man does not torture others. Generally, it is the tortured who turn into torturers. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol or morphine or idealism. In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. Where love rules, there is no will to power, and where power predominates, there love is lacking. The one is the shadow of the other. The pendulum of the mind alternates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. Often the hands will solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain. The debt we owe to the play of imagination is incalculable. Nobody, as long as he moves about among the chaotic currents of life, is without trouble. A particularly beautiful woman is a source of terror. As a rule, a beautiful woman is a terrible disappointment. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. Masses are always breeding grounds of psychic epidemics. Resistance to the organized mass can be effected only by the man who is as well organized in his individuality as the mass itself. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. It all depends on how we look at things, and not how they are in themselves. Children are educated by what the grown-up is and not by his talk. The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved but only outgrown. There is no such thing as a pure introvert or extrovert. Such a person would be in the lunatic asylum. Knowledge rests not upon truth alone, but upon error also. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. It is a fact that cannot be denied. The wickedness of others becomes our own wickedness because it kindles something evil in our own hearts. We should not pretend to understand the world only by the intellect. The judgment of the intellect is only part of the truth. Man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health. Show me a sane man and I will cure him for you. When an inner situation is not made conscious, it appears outside as fate. If one does not understand a person, one tends to regard him as a fool. We deem those happy who from the experience of life have learned to bear its ills without being overcome by them. Neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering. A man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. There is no birth of consciousness without pain. Shrinking away from death is something unhealthy and abnormal which robs the second half of life of its purpose. All the works of man have their origin in creative fantasy. What right have we then to depreciate imagination? Man's task is to become conscious of the contents that press upward from the unconscious. In my case, Pilgrim's Progress consisted in my having to climb down 1,000 ladders until I could reach out my hand to the little clod of earth that I am. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. The word, happy, would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness.